Hello, hello. I'm so sorry that I am late. I am 25 minutes late because I could not get the mics to connect and the couldn't get these guys to connect. So we've got the headset on. Let me know if the audio is good. If it's not loud enough, let me know that as well, and I will project. Today I've got. Thank you for being here. Today I've got a bunch of clothing to photograph, and I'm expecting it to be sunny, but it's not. But still, I feel like we've got enough light to get started. And I do want to get started because I have committed today to do this task. So we'll make it work. We'll muck around with camera exposure, all that good stuff. It's not perfect. I don't have perfect conditions in this room, but I have better conditions in this room than I had last week. For starters, I have organized my shelves now so that this whole corner here is actually functional. It's got um, I've essentially made a walk-in wardrobe with shelves, and that means I can put 40 tubs here. I've got enough space probably for another 10 more tubs. No, I reckon 12 more tubs against this wall. So we can go from 40 locations to about 52. After that, I'm gonna have to redo the shelves again, but I'm hoping that with some smart sell through, with some jigging of prices, and just filling up the random gaps in the various tubs, we'll get to about 1,000 listings, and I'm gonna try and keep that balance there. The purpose of this session is to, I suppose, do process some clothing, show you guys what I picked up, talk through why I picked them up, what I expect to sell them for, why they stood out to me as opposed to say any other random piece of clothing that is there. Because as you guys know, with op shops, they are super stacked, and a lot of these shelves, racks, you can't even push the hangers to look at the items. Some of you guys have mentioned you don't like doing it because you're constantly looking down, and then you're looking at your phone to comp, and then you're looking down again. Um, yeah, it is tedious getting clothing, and whilst when I first started selling clothing, looking at the amount of inventory I was collecting, it didn't feel like it was a lot for the effort that was put in. And then because with toys, you just pick up a box that's like 200 toy cars or 100 action figures, and they fill up. Like a tub like this. A tub like this would be 30 pieces of clothing, but you'd be talking about 200 toy cars, maybe 300 in a tub like this. So very different, I guess, levels of quantity, which means that the clothing sale price needs to be higher to justify the effort accumulating that quantity. That being said, though, oftentimes a big tub of toys also doesn't mean all of it gets sold. Oftentimes, about half of it gets just put back in that tub or a smaller box for the marketplace for really cheap to kind of cover back costs. So, for example, if we're picking up a tub of toy cars for $100, we're essentially putting half of it back onto marketplace in lots to make that $100 back, and then making the good profit on the remainder that is essentially free inventory. Um, yeah, those are the observations so far. Anywho, I'm gonna start taking some photos and say hello if you are familiar with me. Let me know who you are. Let me know if you're here. If you are new, hi, my name is John. I'm an eBay seller. Today is a beginner clothing chat, but I am a more than proficient toy seller. So this is very much a case of taking the skill set from one category and putting it into a completely new one in the hopes of, or in the plans of, adding an income stream to this layer cake that is eBay reselling. Yeah, if you got any questions, let me know in the chat. Give this video a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let's go. Where to begin? How about you? Start with the good stuff. So the thing that I use to hang out my clothing, I've got a variety of mannequins. I've got women's mannequin for, well, the boobs. We've also got a male one, which I don't really use unless I want to show the chest. And then a bunch of hangers for skirts and jeans, and for more flowy dresses. Usually with hangers, I didn't think much about them until I realized that a lot of the premium stores use the wood grain. So then I went to the op shop and I just said, "Can I please buy one of each from you?" And they just went, "Cool." And so they plugged in $2 for homeware per hanger, and there you go. So we'll alternate with that. In terms of the wall, I don't have like a set place to hang things, and so these hangers, I think there's a brand, but they're like suction cup hangers. And the idea is that you just put them here and they stay. The and they swivel. And then you just press the button and it comes off. Pretty straightforward. The the thing I like about this is that when I started picking up clothing, I was picking up, maxi dresses as well. And for those of you guys who don't know what that means, it's just dresses that have from the shoulder to about the lower hem. They're about 110 centimeters onwards. So for those of you guys who are like getting into clothing and you're buying like the whole reseller ruler, which is like a meter by meter, that doesn't work for those things. But I also was picking up skirts that were like this, and so I didn't really want to be having a set hanging spot and then kind of like having to do this with a skirt. So I wanted the skirt to be here, but I wanted but the dress needed to be here. And so this has been really good for like just changing the position, and then I guess the positioning of the lighting as well. If you can see, I'm not sure if you can see that corner. No, you can't. This is a window here, and there is a wooden frame. So I've actually got these like blinds to mute the light, because if I lift up the blinds to make the light brighter, I'll also get the shadows from the frame of the window, unfortunately. So that's a limitation. Anywho, less talking, more photographing. What's up, Chris? We've got you in the background as I move and shuffle and pack and unpack. Yeah, man, you're definitely not processing stuff because you are in moving mode. Congrats on the warehouse, by the way. Like that's huge, man. To have so much space. Oh, that's like every reseller's dream. So much space. I was really excited for your kitchen. To be able to eat and not have to leave. Not have to go out and get food. Don't have to worry that the neighbors are going to be fussed, with you making food. This is a Zimmerman maxi dress. I feel like it's like a maxi midi because it's like not like super long, but it's quite long. And yeah, so I haven't put it high enough. Gotta go higher. Man, I'm thankful I'm 6 foot. Have the coffee machine arrive. Love it. Important purchases first, Chris. Important purchases first. All right. This dress was interesting. It was in a Vinnie's that they had the racks really stacked all the way to the glass, and this is a size 12, I think, from memory. Yeah, but it was kind of hidden in the size 6s. And for those of you guys who don't know, with dresses, usually from size 8 to 12 is like the most common, and then size 6, size 4, not many people buy them unless it's a brand that specializes in that. Those brands that are specifically for really skinny tall girls, like supermodel girls. The average person is like 8 to 12, and then as you get older, it's like 14. I got in trouble for this for making comments on sizes, but the point being is there's a bell curve of distribution of sizes, and it's like 8 to 12 is essentially that hot zone. So I've heard that the strategy is to hide hot zone clothing in cold zone clothing, and that way you can come back for it later or whatever. Although I don't quite understand that strategy either. If something costs $8 in the op shop, why would you not? That's right, this is a Zimmerman. I paid $8 for it, and it's in excellent condition. Like, why would you not just buy it on the spot? I've never understood the whole hiding thing. I made a poll as well, and those of you guys who saw that poll were like, yeah, we'll just buy it on the spot. Why would I pick some? Why would I hide something? Hot Wheels has the same kind of behavior too, where people will, they'll find a bunch of really cool Hot Wheels cars and they'll just. Is it the fact that they find it during their lunch break and then they don't want to bring it back to work? I don't know. But the point being is like just buy it and dump it in your car. Why hide it in the shop to come back later? It's just a really weird way to live. But people apparently feel the need to do it, and it's always a fun thing to find these things. So whoever it was that was meant to buy this, tough. I'm sorry I took your stuff. Ay, ay, ay. In terms of photographs, how many do I take? I try and take all 24 because I can, especially when the items are expensive and there's that comfort level. For me, with regards to mannequin versus hanger, all I'm really after is this shot with the mannequin, which is the one that shows this angle, which you can't get when you're doing it on a hanger. It's just all drapes. Um, and I've also definitely noticed that, and before that, there were some dress brands that I was picking up, like your David Lawrence, like your Jane Lemmertons, they just didn't look good on a hanger. And I know that there are resellers who will say things like, Summer Profit Collective, she says, like, if it's on a hanger in a shop and that's good enough to sell, so therefore you don't need to do the mannequin thing. And then that makes complete sense. But then it's like, if I can give extra reasons for somebody to buy in a saturated market and I have the time to do it, why not? And I completely understand trying to get to as efficient as possible. And Chris, you're that kind of person, right? As efficient as possible, because then you can also teach as efficient as possible in a systemized manner to somebody who has no knowledge, no passion, no appreciation for the actual product itself. Um, but until then, it's like, don't we want to know all the different touch points that give us, I guess, an outcome? So it's like, if I take this many photos, what's the feedback like? What's this and like that? Like, also sometimes by taking the many photos and the buyer comments on it, or the buyer will be like, I've noticed this, I've noticed that. You know that they've seen it and it's provided them something to talk about. Yeah, the clothing category is definitely not an efficient category yet for me. It's not like Hot Wheels or Thomas Trains where I pretty much got it down pat. In fact, on baby clothing, we've got it pretty much down pat. Um, we know exactly how many photos to take. And also with, especially if they're new with tag, we don't even take that many photos because the buyers already know what they're getting without having to see every single angle. Ah, this dress is really testing the limits at the moment. I'll show you guys what I mean. So essentially, this is where it's at. Um, I've got to crop the window out, which obviously you can do in the app, so that's not an issue. But fun, fun, fun. When looking at the comps of like dresses that I've sold, usually if it's an expensive dress, it's also a long dress or a very elaborate. I have yet to come across in my research time, which shows you, I suppose, how much or little research I've done. Tiny dresses that sell for a lot of money, and I feel like that's like the best kept secret in terms of dresses. Is not the big dresses because that's obvious. It's the small ones. It's all the tiny, tiny dresses. Like a $2,000 mini dress. I have not seen one yet, or I've not been aware of one yet. Anyway, I had this one listed for, I don't remember too much now, 200, I think. And then I had the stock photo at the start just to kind of provide um, the look as it's intended to look. And then I had this on the floor, and I just didn't like the look on the floor. So I'm actually retaking this one today just to be able to get that look, the hanging look, and hopefully it will sell. Yeah, I've been told that there are definitely buyers who do not like buying clothing from sellers who put them on the floor, which is completely understandable because different people have different hygiene standards when it comes to flooring. Some people wear their shoes at home, some people don't. And just like how not every listing has from a pet-free home, from a smoke-free home, I suppose not everyone will also put do not wear shoes inside because it just doesn't feel relevant. Rems, sup? How you going? Yes, first live of the year. Very much motivated to do one because our beloved Drew did one yesterday and I was in it and thought to myself, you know what? I'm actually feeling it, so we'll do one. But we're not actually scheduling to do any yet. At the moment, for me, um, YouTube is gonna be like a once a week video type deal until the clothing store is more established. Because that's the priority. We've got school fees to pay, and very glad to be able to pay for school fees with eBay income. But there must be eBay income in order to pay for said school fees. How's business been for you? How's the year starting out? In case you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm trying to figure out how to get this like integrated bra thing over the boobies. I love Uniqlo. So this is a Uniqlo like shirt dress. It's so comfy. Add it to the list of things I would wear. I would personally buy and wear if I was a woman. This one's done. Who else is here? The six of you here. Say hello if you haven't yet. Rem saying good. Only just reopened my store 3 days ago after life through a rough 2 months at me. I had to step away, but slowly getting the rhythm back again. That's good, man. That's good. That's a good thing about about this business. You can start and stop, and you don't really suffer too much. You know what I mean? It's not like you're sure, you're, as with all businesses, your repeat buyers will notice when you're gone, and then that kind of sucks. You see them actually, quote unquote, migrate away. But for the most part, you're able to take time off if you need, and then you can come back to it when you're ready. A clothing store for me has been it's been encouraging. So at the moment we have, what's the stats in the store at the moment? So the store is, I looked up, our first sale was in April the 3rd last year. So it's almost been a year. But we only started putting in real effort, I reckon, around October last year. October, November. And then we slowed down around the Christmas period because, that's toy season. And then January, we picked it back up again. And so far, we've had, I think, just under 2K a month in in January sales, and then February is looking pretty similar. Yeah, so it's 724. Can you guys see that? 724 items listed, 142 items sold in 90 days, 6,487. So yeah, not bad. I'm for a starting out store, I'm quite happy with that. Um, it can definitely be better, isn't it? That's with all things, right? Like, can definitely be better. And also the fact that we're splitting time, I think that's probably the other thing. If I wasn't splitting time and just going hard on clothing, I reckon it'd be better already. But um, because it's one of the stores, it's not like the only store. Any guesses on the brand of this item? Gonna make these lives fun, right? Guess the item. Do you know the brand of this item that looks like a piñata? Find and flip. Hello, hello. Oh, thank you. That's very encouraging. Thank you for loving my videos. I will continue making them. Not every item takes a long time to photograph. Some items are definitely faster, like tops. But yeah, if we're talking about dresses, I usually end up using the full 24 photos. If it's tops, you can get by with about 15, sometimes even less. So, did we figure out what this is? Any guesses? What brand makes? Because we're going to talk about brands, right? When we do these kinds of videos, we can't just talk about technique and method and process and considerations and pros and cons. So, if you want to wear, if you want to look like a green piñata or a patch of fake grass that hasn't been maintained for a while, what brand do you buy? Da, 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 da. Who's that Pokemon? Find and flip. How large is your store? I'm not telling. Haha. Nah, it's 742 listings, 142 items sold in the last 90 days, $6,497 in the last 90 days. That's where it's at the moment. That's where it's at. In terms of cost of goods, most of this is my average cost of goods at the moment is $5. That's where it's sitting at the moment. This is with just going to op shops and having my pick. A couple of the op shops have also allowed me to go out the back, which is like super cool. And that's like this very much as a result of buying a lot and then them going, "Hey, you buy a lot. Do you want to come and see what we've got?" And then I go, "Yeah, sure." I actually haven't had to ask, which has been super cool. I know some places, there's this dread of like, at what point can I ask? And if I ask, will it be the end of it? Thankfully, I haven't had to ask. It's just happened quite organically. Whenever people have asked me if I sell, I say yes. Or if they ask me what I do, or if they suggest, hey, you're buying a lot, do you send it back to family and friends? I just go, no, we sell it. We take off the family takes their pick and then we sell it. And so far, haven't really gotten that negative response that everyone dreads when they say they sell. I know for some people that's like the worst thing, right? To tell people you sell and then just wait whilst they decide whether they still like you or not, or if they judge you for being someone who's robbing from charity. I don't know, what the perception is, but so far only positive. Maybe there was like one lady who just didn't like the fact that I sold, but you know I've been back since and she still continues to serve me. So I suppose maybe she was just having a bad day, or maybe she just didn't know how to process that knowledge. But then the funny thing is, I've realized that the the staff do talk amongst themselves, and they do, like, if you tell one person that you sell, eventually the whole store kind of knows, and it happens rather quickly. And so then I don't think it's weird. Definitely not weird. It's just something that I think is very much in resellers. And those of you who are in the chat who are a lot more experienced, I suppose, like, do you find that by telling people what you do, it actually leads to more opportunity? I've definitely found that. Maybe the exception is probably toys, because I'm buying from, but it's only because I'm buying from families. I'm not buying from like a supplier or a deceased estate or whatever. But I can imagine if I was buying from a deceased estate or a garage sale where someone goes to the storage units and whatever, then the knowledge that they can move items quicker and that they can predictably move items to one person, that's been my experience, that they call again. Um, Sup, Seamus? Emma, how's it going? Emma's got a good question. We'll get to that in a bit. Find and flip. Sorry, I missed the first thing you talked about. And Rems was like, sorry to hear that. I'm like, yeah, about what? Bad back injury and now trying to get back on top of things. Man, look after your back, everybody. It's like the thing you need to run this business. If you got a bad back, this business is like not possible. After I did all this shuffling of tubs and stuff, the having the medication for ADHD definitely helps, because I persisted with it, got it all done. But yeah, it's like to be able to I don't want to disconnect the phone. So what I'll do, because I'm afraid the mount's going to come off. So I'm going to change this camera and I'll show you guys what I did yesterday. It's going to be in the video anyways. But like this was what it started with, like 8 tubs, and now we've got 5 at the bottom there, and then we've got 4 on each row. So it's gone from 8 tubs to 6, 11, and then we've also got these tubs here. So we've got 5 here, and then this kind of like walk-in wardrobe type thing where we've got those shelves all the way there as well. So altogether, that's like 40 locations, and all this used to be filled up with just crap, like just personal items, old stock, some toys that I've moved to the garage. So my back's definitely killing me. Was killing me yesterday. Went to bed a little bit earlier, and yeah, back is so important. If you guys don't look after your backs, you're not going to be able to do this for long. Especially those of you who are like wanting to do this for a lot longer, because it's that business, right, that you can do when you're retired. It's not, you can scale it up, scale it down. It doesn't have a crap ton of infrastructure that needs moving, unless you're Christopher Long and you have a warehouse that's a bigger consideration. But if you're doing it at your home, this is the kind of thing you can do till you die, really. You know, do it a lot, pay down your debts, and then once you're debt free, this is if you're debt free and you have already amassed like all this skill in reselling, and you're not tied to a category, you're not sentimental about your category, where if you're not that person trying to sell vinyl in 2060, for example. May we all live till 2060 and beyond. Yeah, and you've moved on to more current categories with more activity, but with the veteran selling skill set, then it's easy to imagine that if you're debt free and you don't have all these expenses, that you could easily pick up stuff with high sell through, because that's really like natural to you. The level of effort to the reward will be pretty close. You know what I mean? It's not like you're building up stores to try and figure out sell through from scratch all over again. So yeah, but you need your backs to do it. You need your backs to do it. This was a cool find. This one is a Team Frosty. I don't know much about like V8 supercars, but I know that they sell. And this op shop had a whole collection of them, and they only wanted $6 a piece. So looking at the comps, they sell for between 20 and $30, depending on what they are. So yeah, there was like a polo, like a stretchy polo. If you tell, like the condition's still pretty good. There's maybe like a bit of cracking there's like some very mild cracking in the back there. You can see it like on the L. But apart from that, great condition. That's one. This one is, I think, the same. That's two. So the two of the same. I think one of them is a size M, one's a size L. And then there's this one, which is like a different design, different bunch of sponsors. Oh no, not different. Same, but it's a button-up polo instead of a zip. So this one's got a zip. This one's got buttons. So that's three. This is another zip one. But this one, I think, had a bit more cracking on it. Nope, that's not it. This is not DeWalt. This is Cub Cadet, so different. That's four. Another Cub Cadet. It's five. And then there was the vest as well. So this should go for a little bit more. Yeah, always very nice to go and see like a full collection in the auction. Like, thank you very much. And hopefully they'll sell to the same buyer. Woohoo. All right, let's keep up with the chat. 12 people here. Say hello. Say hello. What's up, Seamus? Interesting various attitudes to reselling, from whoa, that's awesome, to you scurvy dog. Yep. Find and flip with your separate stores. Do they all have separate Australia business posts, or do they all use the one account? They all use the one account. They just log in and out. So you're literally just going to integrations, disconnect, connect, and then away you go. Once every store has, every time I log on, I'm getting between 5 to 20 orders per store account, so it's worth the effort. And even if I'm not getting that, it's the items as well. I'm usually selling at the moment with the clothing store. We're doing 142 every 90 days. It's not bang on one and a half to two items every day. It's like there'll be 2-3 days where there'll be no sales, and then suddenly, like over the weekend we had 5 items sell, and then yesterday or 2 items, and this morning there's now 4 items that sold. So it's kind of like that, in which case when you're logging on, it's like 5 labels to do. So that's okay. Baby store as well, usually people buy in bundles, in which case then even though it's 2 or 3 labels to print, we're talking between 15 and 20 items, because parents, when they find a print that they like, or they find a particular style that they like, they're essentially going, do they have it in size 0, like 000, 0, and then going to like 1, 2, 3, and then, does this print also then, is it just in the onesies, or is it also in the pajamas? Then they'll go to that one as well. And most parents generally shop by theme anyway. So if you think about buying a Christmas present for any kid, what's the question that you ask? Let's start there. I'm going to take a photo of this. Let me know. What's the question that you ask a parent when trying to buy something for a kid for Christmas? And no, Emma, I haven't forgotten your question about store yet. Don't worry, we'll get to it. This is my first time doing clothing whilst doing a live, whilst fielding questions. We're kind of figuring out the balance, the balance of talk, work, and keeping you guys engaged. Want you guys to be hooked on. Stay here for an hour, maybe longer. 2 hours, 3 hours. You want to be the channel that helps productivity, not the channel that impedes it. But yes, what's the thing? Hey, Rem's got it. What are you into? And that's a theme-based question. And so when you're thinking about selling to kids or parents of kids, it's all theme. Everything's theme. It's not even about brand. So the amount of things that sell on eBay for kids that have no in-demand brand, that are made from poor quality, but just the fact that the theme is a theme that's hard to feed. That's a that's almost more of a bolo than brand. And the reason, and whilst brand is certain, because I can say, here's a brand, go find it, you will find yourself probably in quite competitive waters. But if you figure out themes that people are looking for that are not being catered to, I would argue that's an even better tip, because you're probably going to have that. You have, firstly, is to learn to fish as opposed to here's the fish. And secondly, once you figure out a theme, you can keep that theme for a while. Yeah. And you'll usually see not many listed, and a relatively low quantity sold, but we're talking like 80% sell through, sometimes even more than 100% sell through. You just got to keep feeding it until, I suppose, social media exposes it. Gonna say hello to, hello, Colin. Hello, Colin. Hello, Jake. Uh, yes, vertical flat lay. I used to do the on the floor thing. I don't do that anymore. Hurts my back. I'm quite happy with the hanging situation, and more so out of necessity, because I didn't think I had this wall to work with. This room was not designed for this. It was never intended for this, and because we'd always been taking baby clothing on the floor, so to it just was like, well, if I'm already taking baby clothing on the floor, why not just continue doing this on the floor? And to be able to kind of come here and go, wait a second, there's this huge wall. Can I free up the space so that um, I can actually use it? Yeah, game changer. and also game changer to get out of Jenny's hair, and to allow the kids to just have their space back. Because as much as they are understanding and the little, and they're like, yeah, daddy will clear it for you, we will keep it clear. It's something that they have to work around. And yes, this business can be done from home, and yes, everybody understands. But if they don't have to work around it, then why make them, right? For those of you who are, I guess, newer to the channel, the best decision I ever made, apart from um, marrying Jen and having kids, is actually buying this house. This house has been an absolute like godsend. When we first got married, I was like, well, it was very much a I'm getting a four bedder. She's like, why? We don't even have kids yet, and what if there's so much maintenance? I'm like, well, we can just leave half the house empty and not and not use the space. And yeah, we ended up having a honeymoon baby, which was surprise, surprise. So we became parents faster than expected. Um, but then in terms of the space, man, we've been able to help. We've been able to house friends who are in between places. We're able to provide like a room to a friend who was like having some construction issues with their new place. We've been able to house family who are in between places. And then once the kids got bigger, it was like having the space to run this business in the house. And I very much recognize that this is an unfair advantage. I know that it's not like I don't do these YouTube videos and try and convince you guys that you need to do exactly what I do, because I mean, not everybody has a four-bedroom house, and there are definitely resellers who are in like more regional areas who have land, have sheds and all that kind of stuff, live on farms. To be metro, to have the access to like metro quantity of stock, and not have to hire a storage unit. Like I'm very much very fortunate that I'm paying a mortgage and not renting, and also having to get a storage unit or a warehouse like Chris is. As much as I want the warehouse, it's a trade-off. We all make the most of the situation that we've got, but it is very much our situation. It's not a blueprint by any means. But so far, the kids have been content to sleep together in the same room, and because it's that age, right, where they start talking to their soft toys, and like the one sibling is mommy, one sibling is daddy, and then all the soft toys are like their kids. So it's like super cute when they go to bed. It's just like, are you ready to sleep yet? Have you brushed your teeth yet? All that kind of stuff. So yeah, so it's like it's actually given us more time to kind of use the bedrooms and the garage. But yeah, very much aware that not everybody has a situation. Not everybody can, just follow blindly and get the same outcomes. And that's just with YouTube in general, right? Like it's really about seeing what's possible. And I think the beauty of YouTube is that there was a time when you would have to go on field trips and do work experience and all that kind of stuff to see what is possible. And then now you can just go to your computer and see what is possible, and it's really up to you whether you want to do anything about it or not. and take from it what you will, and whether you follow it completely or whether you follow it kind of. Oh, this one's dirty, need to wash it. Clearly this was his or her favorite. Ugh, need to wash that one. Where were we? Yeah, if you see someone doing something the way you like, copy them to the extent that you're able to. If you see someone doing something and you can't follow most of it, take the bits that you like. What you shouldn't do is feel like you have to disqualify them in your head so that you don't do something. I think that's the big one. So many people, when they see success or they see productivity and they get triggered, and their initial response is, I will feel safe by telling myself that what they're doing is wrong, or it's a scam, or they had an advantage that they're not telling us about, so it's all dishonest. Like, don't tell yourself that kind of thing. It doesn't help you. It definitely doesn't bring them down. The things that you write in the comments, the things that I'm not saying you guys do this, right? But you've seen this kind of behavior where you know people will tell a story in their head to justify not doing something about it, and then the only person who doesn't benefit is the storyteller. The person making the content still continuing to grow their business, you know. But back to the original point, you're able to see what's possible, do something about it. Um, I as much as I wanted to have more space, all it took was one day persisting with cleaning out this room, and now I've got walking space again. And quite frankly, I could technically what's the word? I could technically fill this up again to, I guess, the same kind of tightness as before. Before it was like strafing only space in here where I could barely walk. I'll be talking, I can be walking like this through in between boxes. And right now I've got this much space. So if we wanted to go back, talk about the space that we've cleared, I could go back to lining this wall with tubs and this wall with tubs, and we technically can get 80 tubs in here. But that would not be safe. Because the last thing you want is for tubs to collapse and the kids when they come in here going, Daddy, oh no. You know how kids are when they tumble in, right? They rumble in like elephants, they bump into each other. And then if they bump a box, then it's like, yeah, good luck. Someone's gonna get hurt for sure. Oh, Emma, store versus no store. Um, I have not done. I have always been a store person, and when I did get a store back in 2019, I've always had stores. So for me, it's about the savings once you get to a certain level of sales. I have not worked that out. I have a spreadsheet somewhere. I can't tell you the exact number. Someone here probably knows it. Chris, you probably know it more than I do. I'm not a spreadsheet person, but I do know that whenever I start a store, whenever I start in any category, like this is already as a store account, whenever I start in any category, my intention is to get it to the point where it's cheaper to have it in the store than not, because that's my level of effort threshold to justify putting in, to learn, and whatnot. Apart from that, from memory, it's promotional tools as well. I could Google it. The ability to run sales, the ability to and on sales, the interesting is I'm noticing with the clothing category, running sales is like key. And I think Chris, you talked about this in your latest video too, where you were saying like all these low balls were coming in because when you ran a sale, people were like, "Oh, everything's cheap. We're going to lowball the stuff that's not on sale as well." Definitely with clothing, since we've upped the effort from like just after Christmas to now, when we've had a sale running, whether it be, I think the first one was 20%, now it's 25% off. Just to see like at what point doesn't the traffic increase not justify the discount offered? It does lead to more impressions, leads to a bunch of low value items selling. And by low value items, we haven't sold anything for $5 yet. You know what I mean? Like it's and I've definitely picked up stuff that I reckon if I were to go out again, I would not pick up. So at the moment, there's stuff here that I've picked up probably around August last year, and then there's stuff here that I've only picked up yesterday. So for example, this was yesterday's win. This is a Mickey and Co. Vintage like puffer jacket, and it's got this really beautiful like Mickey and star kind of like embroidery here. So this one should go for like 100 to 200 depending on what the comps say. Not many comps, but they all are in that kind of like $100 and up range, and it's still got that. If you can hear that, it's like nice kind of feel to it. So yeah, this one will sell. So this is something that I would pick up today, but back in August would not have noticed to even pick this up. The vintage stuff, and then also a month ago, I learned about a brand called Cuz, thanks to Sam, Stylist Wardrobe. Shout out Stylist Wardrobe. So yeah, stuff like that, right? New with tag. This I think is $150 new with tag. $150, yeah. So probably hoping to get somewhere in the 60 to 80 range for this one. I'm noticing with retail, even if you get some new with tag, it's not always guaranteed you'll get retail for it. Most people will only pay half to about 70% if it's like perfect condition. but for the most part, you're expecting essentially 50% and under. And then this is an example of something I picked up back in August that I would never pick up again. Like size, these are like XL training shorts. These are Nike dry fit. But even so, with all that stuff in the store, with all the sales and with the low stuff selling, the cheapest thing we've sold was a Ganda t-shirt for $9.95. So that's not bad, given that when I go to eBay sales comps, I've never seen a Hot Wheels car sell for 5 cents, but I've definitely seen t-shirts and shorts sell for like less than $1. Whether it be because they use auction format instead of buy it now or whatever, or maybe they just reduce their prices to the point of like just get it out of the store. Um, there has to be a threshold at which point you just take it all and just take it all and donate it again, right? Free up the space and put good stuff back into the store. But that's beside the point. The point being is, given the variance, sales leads to traffic leads to conversion. And so just for that, I would get a store because that gets you quicker to your goal. Only if sales is beneficial to your category. Hot Wheels, Thomas Trains, action figures, even baby clothes sales don't really move the needle that much, not the way it has with this clothing store. And this is coming from 700 listings, or when we first did it was like 500 listings back in beginning of Jan, compared to say baby store is like 1,000 plus listings, Hot Wheels cars about 6,000 plus listings, Thomas Trains about 1,005 listings, action figures about 600 listings. Sales have not moved the needle there. So when you think of store size, clearly it's a lot more beneficial here, which means that definitely get the store early, even if you can't make the saving threshold, to get the store to the point where you are making that saving threshold on fees. That's kind of what I do. I hope that answers the question. And I think you expected an answer from me, Emma. I don't think you wanted me to just go yes or no, here's the threshold. I think if you follow this channel, if you're here persisting with the quirk that is John the Reseller, you're expecting long form, and that's the long form answer. So yeah, hope that helps. Let me know in the comments, chat, what do you think? Justin, what up? Rams goes, do you add photos of measurements or just measurements? I used to add photos of the measurements, and then I just now write it in. It hasn't made a difference. I would much rather show detail than to show measurements. And so far, nobody has complained that something wasn't measured correctly, and no one has asked for a measurement that I haven't provided yet. Yeah. Which by the way, to that point about description versus photograph, people go, nobody reads descriptions anyway. Well, the people do, because if they need the information, they'll look for it. And and measurements exist in descriptions. So if you're taking photos and really when you think about it, if somebody everyone has their number, right? Like for guys, probably not so much, but if I guess with pants, I know I'm a 32 waist. So if I'm looking for jeans, I'm already typing 32 in. I expect the 32s to all show up. If I'm looking for but if you're looking for dresses, for example, women have their numbers. They have their bust size, their hip size. They've got they understand what the length of the dress needs to be for it to be like a midi that looks nice on them, which is just below the knee, or whether a maxi will sit right at their ankles or they'll trip on it and fall, or it'll soak up all the rainwater when they're walking on the wet floor, right? So everybody has their number, which means if you expect them to go to a photo, click on the photo, and then zoom in to see the measurement, if you're doing like full length photos, or if you're doing it as right at the point where it's at the armpit and that's where the measuring tape ends, the photo is wasted for just the measurement, in which case it's a lot easier to just write it in the description, and then they can go, yep, 50 across, 120 down, and then yeah, you get the idea. So to me, I feel like it's just better in the description because it's where they would go naturally. It feels normal. It doesn't feel like extra effort. The photo thing feels like more effort, but the photo thing is less effort for the seller, because especially if you're part of like Tekken Sports, Chris Lin, kind of thing, where it's just with that mesh, that reseller ruler, makes a lot of sense because you just snap, done. But from a buyer's point of view, and especially if you want to take a lot more photos of more expensive garments, just write it in, because that's the same thing to me. What else? Chris going, if the fees on $1,000 was 70%, come down to 12%, that is a savings covered already. Yep, done. And hello, Justin. Cool. time to take more photos. Take more photos. Time to take. Emma, what do you sell? If you don't mind me asking. I've also seen your name around, so I'm guessing somebody else here probably knows what you sell. Oh, this is nice. It's like stitched in. You know when you like see an item you just want to keep far out. I want to keep this item so bad. Such a nice jacket. Ah. But we're not in the business of storage. Oh wow, this one has got like Japanese or Korean on it. Can't even tell what the material is made from. Look, Emma saying books and video games. Nice. Hey Justin, are you still selling, or are you pretty much just working now? What's up, Drew? Yeah, man. I gave you props yesterday for I gave you props at the beginning for giving me the energy to do this one. I saw you live yesterday. I was like, you know what? I'm feeling up to it. Because I remember I was saying to you that I wasn't gonna just focus on selling and leave the eBay thing to one video a week. But after your live, so I was like, you know what? I'll do one. I've got stuff to process anyways, and judging from the turnout, good decision. Hanger swap. Ooh, they're made from wool. Jono, what up? Welcome, welcome. Rem saying jacket from Tokyo Disney being a Japanese Mickey Mouse jacket. I just picked up 2 plush toys Tokyo Disney. Oh yeah, I probably you can't rule anything out when you go to the op shop, right? Uh, Currently listing some good old school Japanese Sega Saturn games. Nice. Oh, thanks, Ben. Appreciate you being here. Hopefully you get going and you make lots of awesome sales. Justin does weekly auctions on the Pokemon page. Oh yeah, you were telling us that it was a lot easier to do that than going on eBay. That's for sure. Also, for those of you guys who don't know, I do a member-only blog in the YouTube community channel section. No obligation, of course. It's $4 a month. So if you'd like to support the channel, it would mean a lot to me if you would consider becoming a channel member. That means that I get to still share thoughts and ideas and stuff without having to go live and do like a full video editing and stuff, juggling the time. You understand. So yeah, if you guys appreciate the content, consider becoming a channel member. It is $4 a month, a very, very modest $4 a month. Hopefully it's you see the value in it, and yeah, I'll see you in there as well. The first item for us to break out the lint roller for, piece of tech that I have not used so far with clothing until today. The question is, how do I open you? Does anybody have like a collection? Does anybody keep their their tags from the op shop just for memory sake? Or is that just me? I'll show you guys what I mean in a second. Hey, that's like that's my jar of tags. Very satisfying to look at. Color I hate photographing the most, purple. It never ever shows exactly as you want it to. Always a bit, it's always a bit maroony, and then it goes like super purple, and then it goes black, and it's like ah. There were these two blouses that I sold recently, um, one after the other, and I was expecting the black one to go first because they were both the same style, and the purple one didn't even display as purple properly, but we said it was aubergine. The word aubergine, eggplant, in the title, and it's sold. So it's like, okay, I guess everybody can agree on what shade an eggplant is. So this is a country road. I don't normally pick up country road unless there's like a good reason to. So in this case, this is your kind of like, I don't think it's burgundy. This is more plum. Yeah, it's plum. Yeah, plum in a size 10. This was $4, and so it'd be like a 4 to 20, maybe 30. It's in really good condition and looks even better after giving it a roll with a link roller. One sec, the phone's fallen down. I got to figure out the mounting setup in the study. There we go. The boy is having a conversation about Pokemon. Cool. Also, if you're not in our Discord community, it's called the Meaningful Hustle. The link should be in the channel somewhere. We have a trading card chat in there where you will find Justin hanging around from time to time as well. So if you're not in our Discord already, what have I done to offend you? Okay. Yeah, we have a trading card chat. Usually, when there's like a drop of something, that's when the boys come out to play, and they're like, "Oh, have you guys checked this one out, that one out? Yes or no?" And also conversations around grading. So yeah, we'll join that if you haven't already. It's a good little resource. A great way to also meet other card sellers you could potentially do deals with. Gasman is an interesting brand. I feel like the people who like Gasman really like Gasman, but they don't pay a lot for Gasman, even though Gasman wants a lot from at the retail point. Chris, you probably get a lot of this in your lots as well. I don't ever pay up for it. If it's there on the clearance rack, I'll pick it up. Never at the asking price. So $2 and under, I'll pick it up. $5, nope. And I also think because when we go to the op shop, we are spending the time to look. We want to make that time worth more, as opposed to say if we're getting stuff in bulk, then the price can be higher because it's offset by the time not spent having to hunt. There's no right or wrong. It's just some business model that suits your flow. For me at the moment, going thrifting isn't bothering me. It's not tedious in any way. It's not making me feel like I'm wasting my time. But I'm pretty sure there will come a point where I'll be like, can I really be bothered going out again? So far, it's actually the most refreshing part, believe it or not, is the fact that I get to go chit chat with all the managers. Talk about the things that have come in, talk about the things that are selling, talk about the things that I don't want to sell, tell them why, and then go, oh yeah, this sells here. I'm surprised it doesn't sell in your store. Well, eBay is about words, op shop's about looking, feeling, and so yeah, shouldn't surprise. I'm gonna put this stool here so I can just pick up the spoon instead of reaching all the way to the shelf. It's interesting when you go to the op shop and you tell them what you do and you talk to them about what actually moves for them. You'll actually learn a lot about the different platforms and why eBay is just one way to sell. It's not the best way to sell. It's just one way. And by acknowledging that, um, you naturally start seeing them as a partner rather than a competitor. And I think for me personally, I don't like the sentiment around how op shop prices are too high or how they are trying to screw the reseller without saying that they're doing it. Like I don't like any of that because to me, it fails to appreciate that both selling platforms, methods, locations are different, and the effort and the nuance and the customer base and the experience and the journey from when a buyer thinks to go in and then picks an item and then checks out is just different compared to eBay. When you when you celebrate those differences, it's starting to sound like a diversity cultural day speech. When you celebrate the differences in both places, there's actually a fantastic partnership that can be had. And then suddenly this whole reselling business that can be quite lonely, quite isolating. You've now got people. Um, you now have suppliers that you can talk to because they inadvertently become your suppliers. You go from wandering around the store looking for things to them saying, "Hey, does this sell in your store?" Because they recognize you're not a competitor as well. You're just different. And then they'll go, "Hey, this stuff doesn't really. We're not really keen to put this on the floor. The brand comes up on eBay quite high, but we don't ever see it move here." Surprise, right? I've had that said that to me before. You know, the thing you hear on the YouTube videos from people who complain about op shops is, oh, they always comp the stuff first, and then the high value stuff they put it onto their eBay side, or the high value stuff they never put it on the floor. Not true. I've had managers come up to me going, "Hey, this item we've looked up on eBay and Google. The prices are quite high, but we've actually never seen it move here. Every time we put it out, we end up putting on a clearance rack anyways. Do you want it?" In which case they're realizing, "Hey, you could probably make the $200 for this dress. We don't want to see it sell for $2. Would you maybe pay 15?" And I'll be like, "Yeah, sure, because I can sell it." So that's that partnership in action, and it's a very positive experience all around. Those of you who've actually had great relationships with your op shops, with the managers, let us know in the chat. Like, I want to build on this narrative because it doesn't get built on enough, but it lends to such an amazing experience. Um, yeah, then like I think to myself, right, the number of times I go to the op shop and I see other resellers who are just like, they're trying not to be noticed, and the whole body language is like tight. Why? Like, would you imagine? Can you imagine going to work and the whole time you're just tight? Every meeting you go to, you're tight. Every Zoom call, you're tight. You're like, that's just not fun. And you're trying to to win, and you're trying to hustle, and you're trying to like just get ahead. Like, that's just not a nice experience. You become your own boss to not have to do that shit. But it's like, is it really the necessity that we have to endure? You know? Um, yeah, that's as deep as we've gotten so far. Yeah, it's weird. I have sold them, Drew. I think that's it. I have, because I have sold them, and because they don't sit for very long either. At the like under $20 for like dress shirts, and then if it's this needs a wash, and I will wash it because this is Scanlan. Yeah. Well, Scanlan blade is over $20. We're gonna wash it, or at least spot clean it. Yeah, because under $20 for dress shirts, they seem to move. Polos, $15. Yeah. Until the point where it becomes overwhelming and I don't have capacity, I'll probably still pick them up. But yeah, I'm not like trying to clear the rack of them, if that makes sense. But then again, you've got a, your store is what, 6,000 listings, so you've got 10 times the amount of inventory than I do. Um, Completely understand where you're coming from too. Like there are definitely Thomas trains I don't touch anymore, Hot Wheels I don't touch anymore, action figures I don't touch anymore, baby clothes that we don't touch anymore. We definitely like let go of a lot of the nice to haves because we want the must haves for sure. I have this stubbornness in me, right, with regards to selling on eBay, and that is because everything can be sold on eBay. I need to try and sell it at least myself, and the reason is because I know that there are categories that have sold, and I ask myself, why not me? Why must it be the other person that gets to sell it? Is it because the pricing was low? Is it because they chose the wrong format like auction instead of buy now? Is it because they is because no one else bothered to list it? Like there's so many items that have like 30 sold and 40 listed, and you go, okay, is it not desirable? Well, clearly not, because it's not that, because the item is in abundance here, right? Is it being sold for a cheap price in the auction? No, they're asking decent amounts for it. So, okay, why isn't it being put onto this platform? Does it sell in other platforms? And you owe it to yourself as a seller to work it out, to work out why this doesn't play here but plays elsewhere. And then after that, give it a go and go, can I put aside $50 to see if this can play here? And if it does end up playing there, that's your data and you get to keep it for a little bit longer until the numbers get significant enough that other sellers go, I'm going to pay attention to you on therapy. Because if let's say they're 30 sold in the last 3 years and it gets to 50 sold in the last 3 years, there are many sellers who will be like, that's not big enough for me. So you still get to be the only person that's playing for a while. And then it becomes, that's what happened with Thomas Trains. Before I had copycats, so before COVID, when it was very much top end collector items, new in packet type deal, and then it was all the cheap bulk lots. There was like one other seller that would itemize them, but wouldn't do it for the full range because they didn't understand that when someone buys, they were trying to build a collection, which means the wider the range, the larger the bundle order. And so then for 3 years, I pretty much had that whole middle band to myself. I sold 70% of all Thomas trains in Australia. And to give you guys context of how much that was worth, $60,000 90-day total. Which is like, pfft. And even if you take away the COVID premium for that duration and you shave off a third of that, that's $40,000 every 90 days. That's crazy. But it's because I got to play there for as long as I did until people realized, shoot, we should probably split them up as well. And then now, that total is closer to 15,000. But that's besides the point. It's you with eBay, you get to pivot to other categories. We are now doing clothing. From the Thomas Train, we went to like the Hot Wheels car store. And then for a period of time, it was like the largest used Hot Wheels car store there. The point being is you're going to find that there are things on Terra, there are categories where in therapy, the sales data does not support you participating, but the gap is big enough that you owe it to yourself to at least try. And then once you try, you'll be like, I guess I get to play alone for a bit. Yeah, and then you just make the money, and then you move on to the next thing afterwards. It's not set in stone. That's one way to go about it, and obviously there's the other way, the more proven way, the way that most people will go and pay mentors and courses for, which is the give me the saturated market way, the way that everybody needs to go. That's easier, right? But given my brain and the way ADHD works, I don't find that interesting or exciting at all. And the trade-off with that is because my default is to experiment, is to try. When I do too many tries at one go, the family life takes a hit because now I'm spending all this time experimenting and I'm not present at home. And so then the personal, I guess, cost is I need to realize that one experiment at a time, be present. And if Jenny says to me, you still haven't figured this thing out, don't do the next thing, I have to be like, yep, sorry, got ahead of myself. And definitely having the meds has helped with that too. So it's not the case of, once again, no right or wrong. It's do what you can, what you're excited to do, what you enjoy doing within the capacity that you've got. Yeah. And always pursue joy. I think it's probably it. Like if it doesn't give you joy, please don't do it. Please don't do it. I mean, granted, there's necessity, right? If it's out of necessity, do it. If it's not necessary, it doesn't give you joy, please don't, force yourself into a corner where you You have to do something. Most of us became self-employed to not have to ever have to do something, you know? This is a back and bridge dress. Heard good things about the brand, have sold a couple of items, but not an easy brand to come by. And I don't seem to move it quickly compared to other sellers who say they do. So I have been hesitant to invest more money into it. Drew, you've got data. You can probably tell me whether I'm right or wrong. Or maybe I'm just too small and haven't picked up, 50 of them. So how do you know until you get 50 units in stock? But yeah, I remember when I first started selling clothing, there will be sellers who will get excited when they see this brand. Hasn't been the best experience for me so far, regardless of price point. That being said, though, they make nice stuff. We'll give them that. They do make nice stuff. Or maybe it's just the abundance of stock available. Because I was thinking about it, like in terms of clothing, the fact that it is hard to get something that you want because it runs out of stock, and then you're not able to find it on sale, or maybe not in your size, and eventually go onto eBay to find that exact item. You have so much choice, and also the manufacturer is consistently trying to get them to come back to the shop with new styles and trying to get it right, to try and extend their trend. So when they say that clothing is more competitive, it is true, because even with the Hot Wheels and Thomas Train stuff, the manufacturer isn't actually trying to compete with the secondhand market. They're trying to be done with it. But I don't think with clothing that's the case. And so sometimes, I'll pick up these dresses, and then I'll have conversations with the clothing sellers in our Discord, and it'll be things like, yeah, the print's really nice. Why isn't it selling? Or, yeah, that's actually a really nice silhouette. Like, why doesn't it move? Only to realize, yeah, because you're competing with a lot of the new stuff as well that's that the manufacturer's putting out to be like, hey, buy new. Maybe you don't like, maybe if you want florals, we have floral, but it's just not the roses from last season. But we've got hibiscus instead on black. So I guess it's red on black. Do you like hibiscus? Contra. Hello, 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 hello. Drew saying style matters more so than brands. I agree. There's actually a Portman's dress here that I picked up that I really liked. Hold up. Where are you? Show yourself. Yeah. So, like, for example, something like this that has, where the neckline has like a little cutaway. So that I pick up now. I don't pick up just the standard round, like the round necks or scoop necks. Same for like review as well. You've got, that like that, and then that. The words are not coming to me at the moment. That's because I am a beginner. I am still making mistakes, by the way. So here's an example of a mistake. I saw this Camilla and Mark like blazer, right? And I was like, yay, Camilla and Mark, they sell for a bit. And my first thought was go and look at all the metal shiny bits, typical shiny object syndrome. I looked at the shiny bits, look at that, it's all so shimmery and stuff. Must be in great condition. And then looked at the rest of the buttons. Yep, there are no pulls on the fabric. Come home, guess what? 3 button. Where is it? 2 button. Ah. Yeah. So we're still making mistakes, and that's okay. We learn. It'll still sell. Not for as much as initially thought, but we learn. This is a nice little segue. What is a mistake you've made recently, Lady Shemis? What is a mistake you've made recently that you will admit to? Have you bought something recently that you absolutely regret? But hey, it's a safe space. If it makes you feel better to say it, you know what? It should make you feel better to say it. Just say it. Got a Japan World Cup soccer jersey for kids. This should go for $30, I think. We paid $4 for this one. I am a fan of sports jerseys for kids because they don't make enough of them. And because kids tend to, grown-ups, they buy jerseys, they keep them in their wardrobe, they never wear them, and then they are in pretty good condition after a long period of time. Kids' jerseys, they get worn all the time. Every time my son or their friends have gotten a sports jersey, they've worn those things to death. And parents don't tend to, and it's weird with guy clothing, parents don't tend to wash with care, but with girls, for example, if they see a tutu dress, they'll be like, "Ooh, better wash it with care." But that same thing doesn't trigger with boys' clothing because I guess that's the whole boys will be boys. You're gonna trash their clothes anyways, unless your kid is one of those kids that is the kid that is on the ad for Gap Kids, who wears a blazer all the time, appreciates the feel of a leather belt, and a pair of the point being. So yeah, I find that if you can get like as new condition or really like just still as new condition or even just like still in shape, official team jerseys for kids, they tend to move fairly quickly. And for asking price as well. Um, yeah. Drew, ultimately, we are men trying to figure out what women desire. Let's not kid ourselves. We are winging it completely, thinking we know what is cute or nice. Yeah, yeah, that is the reality. Who really knows what women want? Hey, Ah, still making mistakes. Look at that. So this was the last stop yesterday, and I'm pretty sure I rushed. So we've got like a blue stain on there. I gotta go and try to wash it off. Ah, although true, I do know women like dresses with pockets. I've never like the happiest uh the happiest I've seen Jenny or her sisters when it comes to buying a dress or anything, it's when they see pockets. They'll be like, "Oh, pockets!" Like next to does it fit and does it make me look amazing? It's does it have pockets? Tripod test. Make sure that it's still stuck to the window. Hello, hello. Jonas, yes, thank you so much. I'm doing my best as all good men do. We do our best. Soccer jerseys need to wash inside out, sun dry. Japan make really good jerseys, man. Like I used to have one as a kid, and then had a Liverpool jersey as well, and that my mom absolutely did not like because a kid should not be wearing a beer brand on him, which is fair. Clothing is kind of a tough thing to sell. It also can depend on where you're selling it at a market or someplace shop, depending on how many customers is coming through to look. Yeah, it and it varies, right? It doesn't. If you know how to sell clothing in a on eBay, if you know what people look for, if and I've said this to the op shop ladies as well. Some items are bought by looking and touching. Some items are bought with words, and they'll give me these items. Like, oh, the fabric's amazing, and they'll say, oh, this the print's amazing, and it looks so beautiful. I'm like, yeah, but I don't think anybody's looking for this, and I'll show it to them. I know, shocking, right? I actually log onto eBay and I show it to them. They're like, oh, did not realize that this item, nobody was looking for them. Yeah, and I need people to look for them in order to buy them, and they get it, and then they suddenly realize that um, not that they suddenly realize that I'm not trying to get every good item, and by that I mean everything that they deem is a good item. Like there are items that I will actually bypass, and that when I don't pick them up, it's not because I'm dumb or I've just missed it, and they've won one over me. Notice the kind of cycle we set ourselves up for. If you're trying to compete with the op shop and you're constantly trying to one up them, who started it? You know, it's could be such a collaborative experience, and so far that's been my experience. And yeah, I encourage you guys to consider doing that with your op shops too. Unless you're a great boss and have every morning you come to work, your staff are happy to see you. The only other time you get the happy to see you is when you go to the op shop. Right. And in case you're wondering, no, I'm not sucking up to my local op shop with this video. They don't even know I do a YouTube. They do not even know that I have a YouTube channel. So selling jerseys. I used to do that with basketball shoes. I had a pair of orange LeBrons that I sold for $200 as well. That I had worn, that had been scratched and everything. And someone was like, "I'm good." And when I sold it to the guy was like, "I'm gonna be the coolest. I'm gonna be the coolest guy in my street." That was what that's what he said to me. That's men with their sporting gear. It is it's a huge rabbit hole. 14 people here. Say good day if you haven't already. I know. You have to change your browser or tab or whatever and pause that YouTube video that you're watching elsewhere, or pretend to still look at the camera because you're in a Zoom meeting. But it will mean the world if you could say hello and subscribe. Give this video a like. Just like how you don't want to feel alone. I don't want to feel alone. Let me know you're here so that I don't feel alone. It was unscripted and unplanned. Would you say hello? Scotch and soda, very much of a hit and miss brand for me. I know what Drew's gonna say. Depends on the style. Exactly. And this one has a rug on it, which is the only reason I picked it up because it has a rug on it. Hee. I'll show you guys in a bit. It's got a rug in it. It's got palm trees on it. I would totally wear this if I was a kid. I'm not anymore. I have one criteria when Jenny buys clothes for the kids. I said, well, for my son, not so much my daughter. If I would wear it as if it came in an adult size and I would wear it, you may buy it for them. And before you say, oh, but that's such an old person's way of thinking, those of you who do know me and follow the channel quite closely know that I also wear Kermit the Frog bucket hats and have like neon green sneakers. And so what it is saying, hey, buy the clothing that doesn't look like, that doesn't look too kiddish. Or if you're Asian and you understand the reference, Asian cheap, you'll get what I mean with it. Like Asian night market cheap. There's a lot of stuff that came up put out where it's just, hey, let's just slap PJ Mask on a t-shirt and call this fashion. Like, no, we can do better than that. We can give our kids better clothing. So yeah, this is the top. It's got sunset view on it. It's Love and Luck, Scotch and Soda Rebel, size 12. But yeah, it's got like rug on it. So cool. One of you messages me going, "Hey John, they actually make this in a grown-up size." And how awesome would it be if you put this in a bag and then it arrives like this? You open out your bag and this is what comes out. Cool, right? Later, Jonah. 16 people here. Say hello if you haven't already. Just in the chat, go like, hi. You should make a code. I think that's the thing. People don't want to say hi because it's like, what if I'm called out? What if there's a long conversation? What if I'm asked a question and I have to answer? If you say hi in caps lock, that's code for that's all the energy I got. Don't ask me anything else. So I'm gonna make a rule. If you say hi and it's like full capitals, I will not ask you any more questions. It'll be the end of it. That's that. If you say hi in small letters, we're like, hey, how's it going? How's your day? What brings you here? All that kind of stuff. How's that for code? Space Vibes, Toy Story shirt. I'm not a fan of Supreme or anything Supreme related because, well, I don't understand it. I've never sold it. Don't get to make the money from it. But I do appreciate their implementation of the white on red, and it makes things noticeable. Alex just joined and you were not here. As in, wait, I was picking out clothes here, or was I here? Alex, I don't understand what you just said. English, Alex, English. Did you guys see where I put the kids hanger? Far out. It was here just a moment ago, and now I have I've just lost the kids hanger. Where did I put it? What? I know I took it off and then I unhitched it. Then I fold. Did I put it in here? Did I drop it here? You know the silly thing is I'm hunting for a kids hanger. I live in a house full of kids hangers. I'm just gonna go get another one from next door. What are you doing, John? What are you doing? Just be a minute. I think you were off camera. Ah, well, trying to get this view, I would that's the corner of the room there. Laptop's over there where I'm reading chat. Phone can't mount in the corner because I don't have a way of sticking it to the wall, so it's stuck to the window. I'm glad you're here. How's your day at work? Do you have a day off? Rather not say, also fine. For obvious reasons. Another example of what I would wear for myself. If my process looks slow, it is. Uh, I'm not going to. I've definitely seen clothing sellers, Drew, Chris, all the pro Americans process clothing a lot faster. I'm still figuring out how to do this quicker. At the moment, I'm hesitant to go faster because I want to notice everything. Uh, I'm still, I'm still picking up clothing, inspecting them in the store, then coming home and realizing that I didn't inspect it well enough. So because of that, I'm not super, you know, keen to rush. If anything, I just set aside the whole day to do clothing, and it's whatever I get done, I get done. That's that's the attitude at the moment. It'll get faster, as it always does. You guys know me. Um, if my toy track record is any indication, this will get pretty quick by the end of the year. But for now, it's learn and do at the same time. Emma, I thought fully. Oh, Justin, I like how you ask where you. Well, I mean, people notice things, right? Like you've seen these clips on Instagram where someone will be like, "Where did I put this? Where did I put this?" In the column will go, "It's on your head. The pencil's on your head. The pencil's on your ear." So I was wondering if that was gonna happen. Alex, on lunch, just about to post out my 3 sales. Yay! Emma, I thankfully work from home, but could totally sneak off for a nap. Good old Melbourne weather, being overcast and dreary. Yeah, I've been really happy with the lighting. No, I was talking about the lighting being a bit like dark and stuff. So far, not bad. Like, look, we've got that's clear. Um, so yeah, I'm okay with that actually. Obviously, I would prefer if the light was brighter, but tis what tis is. What do you got? Rag and Bone jeans. Sold a couple of them. So always happy to see them in the wild. The thing about rag and bone that I like is they've always got these like really subtle details that you don't notice in other jeans. Like just where they choose to put like the little belt. What's the word for this, right? Someone educate me because this is very much the beginner of me. What are these called? These little nipply looking things. That's right, I did call them nipples. What are they called? Yeah, where some brands they put like black, they'll put like rose gold. What's the word for it? Nubs, studs, those things. Very good picks. I might just take some picks. How many light boxes do you use? The one? Yeah, just the one. That one there, because we got the window. But then if we had nighttime, I've also got these lights up here that point. So then I can direct them in such a way that I don't actually need the studio light. They will forever be known as the nipple things now. Sure, why not? Why not? Why not? You know what? It helps us to identify it. We'll call it the G nipple. I say French. Jean ou niplet. Found it. Oh, we're digging around. Okay, what do we got here? We have Sportscraft Liberty Art Fabrics. Fruits. I like fruits. All the fruit prints seem to sell well. Very gourmet kind of print. And look at how nice the colors turn out. Look at that. So pretty. It's so pretty. Do, 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 do. It's so pretty. It's so pretty. Here's another interesting one. This has no brand. I've no idea where to like who made this, and it almost looks bootleg, but there is like there are a couple of comps on eBay, and so it's like goofy. It's got this kind of like logo to it. There is only that, and there isn't even like a material tag in here. But it looked interesting, so I was thinking maybe I might just pop it on Depop or just put it on eBay and see what happens. Might cop a euro. I don't know. We'll see. But it's interesting enough to pick up. The one thing I've loved about the clothing categories of is that I'm not bored yet. I know Drew, you're saying that because you go through so many items of clothing a day, you get bored. You see the same thing over and over again. It's very rare to find something that you haven't seen before. Um, Definitely not there yet, and I still feel because the category is so huge. And I'm also varying up my sourcing between essentially 1 week I'll do 10 op shops, the other week I'll do another 10 and in different areas. And that's enough to kind of vary it up. Thankfully, I live in a location where the demographic is diverse enough. So then when I go 1 week, I'll see a certain kind of inventory, and then it's hard to describe. Essentially, I don't see the same thing over and over again. Of course, every suburb has your baseline quantity of like of like Miller's stuff, or in the men's section your Gildan t-shirts. But for the most part, there's a there's a pretty distinct variation between the suburbs. And so if you kind of cut, if you know your areas enough, and you can segment them by the perceived level of wealth, the racial distribution, the whether it's private versus public schooling, you can kind of get an idea of what to expect when you go to those various op shops. Um, and also age. Is it like an aging population versus a younger, booming, still gentrifying, quite fluid, younger um, demographic. So, for example, if you go into the outer suburbs where lots of new houses are getting built, and people are still figuring out how to settle, then you generally the higher dollar value stuff will be the current brands, but the expensive current brands, not the older current brands. But if you go to say old money places, you get the old money brands, and not just the old person's brand, but like the young person what they would buy that is expensive, that is an established brand already. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. Yeah. So by just varying it up by geography alone makes a big difference, which is why, as much as I always joke, I'm like, I want to go live in like some regional area so I have more land to store stock. I wouldn't have that variety. I would have to rely on what's in that kind of extended area, and then after that, potentially find like a wholesaler or whatever, because that closeness of variety isn't there. Yeah. Let show of hands, I guess. Do you live in a like metropolitan kind of dense area, or do you live in like a spread out regional, rural kind of area? Let me know in the chat. Andrew's like, so be careful. Yeah, we'll tread carefully. That feels like something you find in like a like a local night market kind of thing. Like worst case with this jacket, give it to a friend. Give it to a Disney friend or my sister-in-law who loves Disney. It even has like butt patches. In case you're wondering why we're off camera, just on the side here, folding up the jacket to put into a bag. We have not disappeared. Why would I? You're amazing. You are amazing company. I'm gonna figure out how to fold this jacket so that I don't fold the like the back patch. Unless I fold it like this and I've got this fear of, when I've got this fear of these like print on patches that if you fold it onto each other, that if it's been stored for too long, then when the person finally gets it, they open it up too keenly, and then like the patch, because it's stuck together, it just comes apart. Has that happened to you if you're a clothing seller? Hey Tom, Tekken Sports is on at this time, John, but here I am. Ah, I'm on it. Also, I did not know that Tekken Sports was on this time. Also, if you are wanting to watch a video from an expert tell you what to do as an expert clothing seller, go watch Tekken Sports. This is not the video for you. This is very much the fumble along with me as I go down the very varied and curious rabbit hole that is clothing. Um, Here's an example of something that I'm going to try because there are Some sold, some listed. High sell through, but small number. Laura Let. Here's what the label looks like. It's what, $20, $30 essentially. We picked it up for $2, so worth giving it a go. Could be something, could be nothing, but for $2, it's testing. It's worth the test for me. Also, if you're wondering, not that you are, I'm going to assume you are. If you're wondering, hey, John, how do you know people's names and do you remember them from your YouTube days? Nope, Tom's part of our Discord community, hence the familiarity, which is a lovely segue to, if you would love for me to remember your name, join our Discord. You don't have to actively participate. You don't have to actively, like turn up to sessions and stuff. It's very much a hangout spot. If you're here and you're just listening to me talk and you're typing the odd thing and you want a more two-directional interaction, that's usually what we do there. We hang out, we work together. Most days, some days, obviously, we've got things to do. We might just do our own thing and not hang out. But when one person's in the hangouts, and that's like a Zoom call kind of situation where we've got two-way conversation, doesn't happen at a set time just throughout the day, sometimes even night times. Usually if there are two people in there, if a third person wants to join, they join, and from that point on, it kind of snowballs into like a 7-10 person conversation. People reply when they feel like saying something. They may decide to just be muted the whole time, but have that kind of like background noise, I guess. If you prefer to hear banter as opposed to just me talking and emptying out my brain onto YouTube, that's what that's for. Those who have given it a go have found that it's a great way to not feel alone and be able to talk about shop and lament if it's been a lamentful week, or celebrate if it's been a celebrating type of week. Either way, great place. It's been around we've had it for a year now, and it's been awesome to get to know people, not just professionally but personally too. That's right. I used the word professionally for us eBay sellers because we're not just junk traders. We are, I want to call it a profession. It takes a fair ton of bandwidth. It takes a lot of learning. And I feel like if we are successful eBay sellers, it should make us freaking hireable if we wanted to go back to a job. Whoop, phone's dropped. I promise to find a better solution to this phone mounting situation the next time we go live. But for now, thank you for persisting with the phone dropping now twice in the last. Has it been 2 hours? I feel like it's been 2 hours already. We're getting pretty close. Yeah, it's been 2 hours. You are all awesome, wonderful human beings, and I appreciate you being here. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. I should probably say that looking at camera. I appreciate you all being here. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for watching the videos I put out. Thank you for telling people that you like watching my videos. Thank you for being part of the Discord community. Thank you for being channel members, those of you who are. Yeah, thank you, Zora. YouTube has been a tremendous experience, and I will not take any of it back. And also, those of you who are thinking of starting YouTube channels, give it a go. I mean, as scary as it may seem at first, was it fear of rejection? That's usually the big one, right? Like, will people actually like what you put out? Will people like what you have to say? Um, Usually, it's start by talking, say what comes to your mind, start out on the surface, even just talk about basic things. Who cares if people have heard it before? Um, None of us are snowflakes, you know. There's bound to be some sort of crossover, some sort of overlap. But the important thing is to start, and then after that, see where it goes. You never know. You never know where your courage might lead you. For me, it's meeting new friends. It's new opportunities. It's getting clarity on my thought processes as well. Um, for most of us, if we are married, for example, or have a partner that we live with, and we're just at home trying to tell them that, hey, this is a business idea and it works. Guess what? Unless they're in business, they can't give you any feedback. The only feedback they'll give you is, I don't feel secure about this. Help me to feel more secure, which means essentially you go figure it out and come back with good news. So having a place where you can kind of talk through your thoughts, which is YouTube for me, having a place, and also the Discord community, having a place to kind of, what's the word? Soundboard, that's the word. Makes a big difference. If not, even if you are full of crap, the fact that you are able to be challenged by people who can see right through your bullshit is beneficial. You know, you need that, especially when you're starting out doing something like being self-employed, where you now have to test to see if you are actually a good manager of yourself. Most of us, unfortunately, are not. We leave jobs to do things our way and then end up sucking at doing things our way because we're not consistent, not because our way is worse than work's way, but the fact that we don't persist long enough to actually make it into a successful thing, ongoing thing. So having accountability with like-minded people is super, super important. I think for me, with the Discord, the reason why I love it so much is because I need to know why, and I need to be able to have that dialogue. If somebody, if for example we're doing this video, right? If one of you comments later on, once this is recorded, and says, "Hey John, that's not how this works. You're full of shit." I still want to have that conversation. I'm not gonna argue with you and be like, "No, I'm not," and then that's the end of it. Or, you do you, mate. Like that's not my nature. I like to any feedback I get, I want to know why. And having that Discord environment where somebody can say, "Hey John, that thing you were doing doesn't quite make sense. What do you mean?" And then we can have this conversation respectfully. That's how we learn. Um, that's kind of the point. So if that's the way you learn and that's the way that you validate or throw ideas out, then yeah, definitely consider giving the Discord a go, and just pop in. If you're afraid that no one's going to be there to talk to you, that hasn't been the experience of the people who have used it actively. Just go, "Hey guys, I got a question. How do you guys do this thing? I want to do it this way. I'm not sure if it'll work or not." And then just go from there. And for those of you guys who actually are in Discord and use it actively, this is kind of the time when you go, "Yeah, John, you're right. Yeah, guys, it's not that bad. We go on there all the time, and then when we say stuff, we don't get put down. It's super wholesome. You should give it a go." Shameless plug, because you shouldn't be ashamed to plug good things. Also, in our Discord, we do a 5-week challenge that is run by Jonas Resell Excel. And he essentially, we put in like our sales numbers, we put in cost to sell, selling costs, stuff on the performance sales page, and then The idea is to track how you're going week on week and ultimately have a discussion around how you are growing your business in the week to week over 5 weeks, and then comparing that 5 week period to a previous 5 week period. Um, yeah, because sometimes when things go bad, we don't want to track. We just want to keep doing, head in the sand. That's human nature. So when things go well, we want to lay back. So what does consistency look like? Numbers don't lie. And so if you're someone who doesn't enjoy tracking, and you like actually the opportunity to put in some data and then continue working, put in some data, continue working, and see how you're going. That's what that's for. And Jonas enjoys kind of playing with those numbers and providing insight. We do a recap at the end of the 5 weeks. The next one will be next Tuesday, and after that we'll start another 5 week cycle. So if you're not in our Discord, join it. It's free to join, by the way. And yeah, we do that 5 week challenge, and Jonas is like super keen, and we have like great conversations around that. If you're worried about sharing your numbers with people, with other people who resell, don't be. We if you are somebody who is small and you're worried that somebody bigger will make you feel small, different points in the journey. That's all it is. Different points in the journey, different circumstances, different unfair advantages. Play to your strengths. Work on your weaknesses as you're able to, and then you'll get to where you're supposed to be with consistency. That's essentially it. And then if you're seeing more growth than a bigger person from a percentage point of view, that's normal, because it's a lot easier to steer small ships. So for me, whenever I see a smaller seller actually getting a higher percentage growth week on week, that makes me feel really happy, because it makes me wonder, like, great, this person's consistent, they're seeing results, looking forward to seeing a growth in confidence, because then there's an opportunity for like wonderful conversation to be had in the future, or even now, from that excitement. And then if I see a bigger seller actually seeing that growth as well, it makes me really curious, because I expect as a big ship to steer very slowly. So then if I'm seeing a big ship steer very quickly, I'm like, how are they doing it? I really want to find out, because that's not common. All this to say, it all leads to discussion, zero judgment. And yeah, I've seen that culture shift from when we first started it to like now, where members would just say, I'm not expecting my numbers to grow, but it's okay. And that's fine. It is okay. It actually is okay. You're not expected to be a machine. I know we want to be machines, but it's not it's not easy being a machine. It's also not sustainable being a machine. So don't expect it of yourself. Just expect to continually improve, continually be open to share not just the wins but also the struggles. And that's what leads to improvement. Increasing in understanding is so key. G-Star Raw shirt. Is there a hole? Is there a hole? Is there a hole? Okay, we're gonna find a different place to put the phone. Or maybe we'll just go back to using the camera from the laptop. All right. How's this? Yeah, let's just do this. Is the audio still coming through okay? Hoping that it didn't mess up the audio. Yep, cool. Yeah, I very much like G-Star Raw shirts. They just wherever they choose to embroider their logo, Nice and subtle. Always happy when I see one. The other day I saw like a G-Star Raw denim dress. It got me really excited. Oh man, this purple is not coming out. I reckon we can fit one more item into this tub and then to the next thing. Review skirt should be small enough to fit. Kukai shirt with a tie. Yep, there's a button there. I definitely used to pick up some women's clothing. I'm just like, how does this go together? Does it go like this or like that? Does the strap go here? No, it goes there. Ah, right, it goes this other way. Got it. Ah, yeah, definitely made mistakes with buying things that have ties as well. I remember picking up dresses or tops that had ties, but then didn't realize till I came home because I didn't notice the little loopy string belt buckle thingies, and then I've definitely picked up ones that had the belts, but then the stringy belt buckly thingy was cut or broken. It's like no. So we've definitely made those mistakes. And we should have picked something up and then didn't. I should have noticed something and didn't. Look, I haven't buttoned this right. So there are two buttons on the inside. And this is a. Oh, it's good to go the other way. Haha. That makes more sense. I'm like, this thing is showing too much boob. Doesn't make sense. That's more like it. Hee. Oops. Hmm. What's the next category you see yourself wanting to learn? Uh ooh, Good question. I want to go back to I want to do more toys, to be honest. I very much enjoyed more. I want to try and we just add more action figure stuff. I reckon. Just yeah, because it's such a big category, you know. So if I can get into more action figures, I would. But then it's more expensive to buy action figures than it is to buy clothing. That's definitely been an observation. I think people who sell clothing also recognize that clothing, but sourcing clothing is harder. Sourcing good quality clothing is harder because if you ask somebody else to do the work for you and become your supplier, then you pay for it. You lose your margin that way. That sense of I might find a treasure in a bulk lot goes away with a bulk lot with like a supplier, and then so you get to go hunt. And I don't think everybody has the patience to hunt. Whereas with toys, there is it's not people who know what they've got already know how to split it up, and if they do sell it as a bulk lot, they will still do the whole here's my whole collection, and then they'll say this action figure is $50, this action figure is $100, this one's missing these pieces, and there are all these groups that allow you to identify them already. So yeah, toy action figures, but the cash flow part is the big consideration. Yeah. How about you? What would you, or actually all of you, what else would you try and sell if you were to get into a different category or a new category? What would intrigue you? Great question, Justin. Like I've started seeing comic books again recently. Picked up a couple, but the the desire to actually start doing it as a whole category, getting like buying a collection and yeah, no desire for that. But I was definitely spoiled because the first collection I bought was so good and so cheap. Um, I to see that repeat, very very unlikely. What was it like? What was it again? We paid. It was 3,000 books, 3,000 comics at 30 cents a piece, and most of them were in like very good to near mint condition. Yeah. So for me to then go, hey, I want to go in. So for me to like most of the times when you get into a category, you're buying X quantity at Y price point, and then you by getting more into it, you're essentially going for multiply higher X quantity and lower cost. The fact that I started at this X quantity and that price point, and every time I've gone to look, I've only ever seen the price point go up for the quantity go for the like go up for the quantity also going the quantity going up, but the price is still higher. Like if I try and clear out a comic book collection of 10,000 books, I'm still paying more than 30 cents a book, and so it's hard to commit to that number when you know that it can be lower. I think that's what I'm trying to get at. How productive were we taking photos whilst talking? Let's see. 504 photos in 2-ish hours. It's all right. I appreciate you all for your company, and hopefully you have been able to get work done too with me in your year. Let's see, what else can we take photos of? Oh, I'm just feeling a bit hungry. You know what? I'm gonna call it. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting the channel. Thanks for subscribing. If you haven't already, please subscribe and consider becoming a channel member for $4 a month. I do a almost daily blog, but member only, where I get to share my thoughts and go long form in written word. I will aim to do one video a week and also do more of these lives because we seem to enjoy them. Thanks for being here. Be nice to each other and also join our Discord community if that appeals to you. Peace.